2014 Ultra Male that I bought in 2014.
2014.
Bought this as
Whoa,
a baby.
Look at that.
Two of them. There were two sisters.
Dang.
$7,000 I paid for the pair in 2014.
What's up, everybody? Your boy MJ here, back at it with another MorphMarket vlog. Have you ever thought to yourself, what would it be like to turn your basement into your own reptile room? Well, I'm at my buddy Sebastian Adams' place of Showcase Serpents. We're gonna head down and check out to see how they turn their basement into their own brand new reptile facility. Let's go check it out. So, side of the house, we come down these steps, knock on this door here. Sebastian, what's up, man? How you doing? Was an actual basement prior to what we're in right now, correct?
100%. So it was a fitted out basement. You know, my partner and I, Adam, we've been looking to build a proper facility. We had one room within a basement that was not ideal for us. And for a year and a half, we looked for a house that was affordable in Northern Virginia, a house we could afford, that Adam could afford. So Adam's family lives upstairs, and it was a fit-out basement. So it had tiles on the floor. We had to jackhammer them up, and we built it exactly where we wanted it. We needed a certain number of square footage. We've got about 2,000 square feet here, and so yes, we turned a fitted basement into a much better fitted basement. ARS, and we've had Freedom Breeder. We had ARS for a long time, and you know they worked well for us. And then we decided we really wanted to have stainless steel. You know, we were fine with the ARS racks. I know they've now got stainless steel racks, but the original ones were starting to rust. The rust was coming down and through. So we said, let's try Freedom Breeder, and we've been very, very happy with them. You know, I think once these failing years to come, although they've been great, we may well go back to ARS. We don't have a particular favorite, but they've been really great for us. For us, it's been about stainless steel, and also I will say cleaning the tops. Being able to remove these lids, take them off. You can pop off the top, and then you can just slide it out. We care a huge amount about reptile husbandry. You know, for us, it's about the quality of our animals, but it's also about the husbandry and making sure they're looked after in the best possible way. So once every couple of months, we'll take those tops off, we'll go and wash them down, and then we know everything, the tub and the top is as clean as we can possibly make it. So we've got 4 racks here, baby rack, baby rack, baby rack, baby rack. All of these are animals from last year. So we've got a couple that are from 2023 left, and then our 24 babies. We always have very, very late season. So we literally have just cut our last eggs, you know, a week or so ago. We had double the number of babies 4 or 5 months ago. We've now probably halved the number of babies. So this is everything that's for sale on MorphMarket and elsewhere. Alphabetic or in order from the day they were born. By chance happens to be a monarch, so that was genetic stripe head monarch was a mother, and then a pinstripe Enchi monarch was the sire, and so that's just a beautiful little monarch het genetic stripe.
Nice. And so for the people wondering, like, how long will this snake be in the tub like this before it upgrades?
For as long as we possibly can. You know, they love the security of being tight. Yeah. So we'll put a snake in there until 700 grams.
Yeah. Okay.
And at 700 grams, it's just on that cusp, and it's starting to feel like the animal can't actually eat properly. And then we upgrade them to a 50 series tub that then usually takes them a couple of weeks to get used to it, and then they start eating great again in there. But we really try very hard. And you notice here as well, we've got cocoa husk in these as well. We used to have paper, and we converted to a cocoa husk. We've got cocoa husk with our adults. We converted to a cocoa husk with the babies because of where we are in the country. The humidity is such an issue for us.
Right.
If you look up here, 38% humidity.
Right.
It sometimes gets down to 19% in the middle of winter. And with paper, it was impossible to keep these babies moist. They just weren't shedding properly. So there's a lot more lift now to clean the babies with cocoa husk, but they eat so much better and they shed perfectly.
I've noticed for sure that if you upgrade these snakes too quickly, they stop eating for some reason.
They 100% stop eating.
Yeah.
100% stop eating. So, you know, they eat better and better in here. And honestly, 700 grams is on the cusp,
right, but
they do great until then.
Yeah. And
by then they're big and strong. If they stop eating for 2 weeks when you transfer them over. You know, Adam's a master, my partner at Showcase Serpents, master at keeping them eating, and you know, they stop for a week or two. Awesome. And then they carry on going. Across here, all of our adults, finite amount of space, we've got finite amount of time. So we've got probably ability to put twice the number of racks in than we've already got here. We decided that this is our limit. We both work full time, we both do other jobs, this is our limit. So these are all of our adults. We've got our males sitting here, we've got a bit of space for females sitting here, and then we try to organize them in some kind of fashion over here. So we've got all our clown stuff here. There's a bit of genetic stripe. There's a mixture of clown and a couple of other things here. A bit more clown here. So clown and clown. Then pied over here. a mixture, and then mixed in there's monarch and monsoon, etc., etc. And then our biggest females. And what's interesting is we've got a 7 series rack there that used to be full, and now we're finding, because we, the pressure is on to upgrade as fast as possible, and so our females very rarely now reach the 3,000 gram mark before we've bred them twice and we've sold them on to somebody else as a great breeding female. I suspect, give it 2 more years, we'll have no females in the 70 series tubs, because they'll be sold after 2 breedings and they'll never get that big because of this relentless, one in, one out. I'll talk about a whole back rack in a minute. But as snakes, and all of these gaps, this was full probably 6 months ago. We've now sold all of these breeder adult females, and then we'll put holdbacks and animals that we buy into to fill that space.
I think it's a smart thing to do, especially when you guys already have careers going on, like, keeping your overhead as little as possible with big females that you no longer really have a first string priority breeding for. It's best to put that in someone else's hands who could actually use those females. And by doing that only after a couple of breedings, that animal is more likely still very relevant in the projects in the ball python world.
That's absolutely right. And a lot of people know us now for high quality breeder females. They know the breeder females we're selling. We know, we're very honest about it. If they haven't bred for 2 years, we'll tell them. They can see in clutch when that animal last bred, when it last laid eggs, what those babies were, etc. And people trust us and know us. And so they know if we sell a breeder female and we'll measure the follicles and say she's got 12 millimeter follicles, you've got a good chance with her. And people do well out of them, and then they'll sell them in 2 years' time to the next person who then does well with them again. We don't take on more racks than this. We've got a finite amount of space, and as you say, overheads are significant.
Right.
We do frozen thawed. We're 98% frozen thawed facility. We spend a lot on frozen thawed rodents, and every adult eats a chunk of food. 2014 Ultramel that I bought in 2014. Bought this as a baby.
Look at that.
2 of them. There were 2 sisters.
Dang.
$7,000
awesome.
I paid for the pair in 2014, for 2 girls in 2014. Yeah.
It's crazy how time flies, huh, Sebastian?
Crazy how time flies. And we've kept these because, and this, honestly, these are our oldest females. And we've kept them because they lay 12 eggs every single year.
Right.
And they go great with so many of these recessor projects that we are starting to move towards more and more and more. Similar size, Ultramel pied. She's in with a boy. She's in with a triple het monsoon boy.
Oh, nice. So she's paired up right now. This
She
Ultramel pied?
So it's Ultramel pied that went to het monsoon, het Ultramel, het clown.
Wow.
And she was locked. That boy needs to go, actually.
And you produced her, I'm assuming?
No, we bought her from Justin, and we bought the Ultramel blade clown from Marcel. Also, a big girl now.
Whoa.
Yeah, and she is 2019.
So it's a 2019 Ultramel blade clown.
Ultramel blade clown. And you've pretty much now seen our full collection of Ultramel adults.
Showcase Serpents is a lot more than just a one-man crew. I have my man Adam here, you're actually the owner of this property, Adam.
I host the facility here, and this is our second main facility that we've kind of developed. Now, the first one was more of we were adding as we went. We were dealing with problems as they came up. So with this one, it was more of getting ahead of problems. Number one was sinks. Our sink was on the other side of the racks, and we ended up constantly, those trips add up. So we added sinks near the racks, one sink for the adults and then another sink for the babies. We were able to, we had to tear the place apart, but we were able to find fresh water pipes to tap into and sewage to tap into.
So none of this stuff was here, like these light fixtures, like the way this wall looks, this was not like this.
This whole bump is new ventilation.
Wow.
Not only for we wanted a dedicated HVAC for the facility, and also a ventilation system, an ERV system, in order to exchange the air and make sure that we keep our CO2 levels, radon levels, and any thing that you need ventilation for. Keep the air healthy in here. HVAC companies, we went to an HVAC company and we explained it. We said we want a dedicated temperature control down in here. Now, what's a great HVAC system for a retrofit like this is a heat pump system. Now, when you go with a furnace, obviously you need a chimney for exhaust and things like that. With a heat pump, it's very easy to just add that to the system. All you got to do is run a line out to a condenser, and then you have dedicated HVAC to your space.
Break down the temps in this facility. Like, what do you guys like to run with? What's been working for you guys so far?
80 to 82 degrees, I find we get the best feeding response. We don't have to crank up the belly heat too much. We don't have to worry about any issues that come with that. And we get a pretty good feeding response. Table, you know, all of our supplies that we need at arm's length and for packing up snakes. Just very handy to have. Our new island we had just for hosting.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
For hanging out. Our incubator, you know, we used dedicated incubators for a long time, but for this, when we moved in this facility, we decided to reverse the closet in the other room, added some French doors, added a little bit of insulation. So when you build an incubator like this, you can learn from our mistake. We actually over-insulated it so that any electronics, any fans in there, the residual heat will actually kind of run away if the insulation is that good. So you want to add extra insulation when you build an incubator, but not too much. Anytime we can, we feed frozen thawed. You know, that's the most flexible for our schedule. It's the lowest risk to the animals. You know, as much as I want everyone to be on frozen thawed, you're always going to have these cases where there are going to be your holdouts that, you know, I say we're about 95% frozen thawed, but for the 5%, we do need to keep live rats available, just so that whenever they're willing to eat, we can get a meal in them. As your collection scales up and as your operations scale up, you really need to focus on efficiency, because little things that, you know, an extra second or two become time sinks, repetitious over and over and over again. So we try to keep everything as efficient as possible, laid out as best as possible, you know, minimizing our time between tasks or to complete tasks, and just try to you know, keep it from becoming overwhelming as the numbers go up. You know, adding the ventilation and everything, it's all contained in here, as well as our freezers for the, it's a little bit colder in here. We don't condition this space, but yeah, we have our freezers for our frozen thawed. This is our ERV, our ventilation system. This takes fresh air from the outside. It pulls some of the conditioning from the air on the inside, captures a little bit of that conditioning, and then exhausts the stale air and you know, brings in the fresh air. This runs 24/7 just to keep all the air as fresh as possible.
Wow, so this is where you keep a lot of your shipping supplies, as well as the cocoa chip and everything like that?
Absolutely.
That's awesome, man.
Yep, and this is our heat pump, our dedicated for HVAC for the snake space. Highly recommend heat pumps for retrofits.
Wow. And I would say this is kind of where stuff gets expensive when it comes to like having a room like this, because it's important, like having the right airflow. I think you said the CO2 is what you check as well? Or?
Absolutely, CO2 levels, radon levels. If you're going to be keeping animals in this space, if you're going to be working in this space, you know, especially once you set up a snake room, you spend a lot of time in it. You want to make sure that the air you're breathing and that your animals is breathing is going to be good air.
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that vlog. Like I said, anybody could turn their basement into their own reptile facility. All we have for this MorphMarket vlog, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.